What is going on, Colts Nation? Here's Jamal, and I'm Eric, your co-host of the Colts Cast. A
Yo.
new hope, a new hope is here. Future of
Hey,
the
but before you get to the new hope, let me just tell you real quick, bro. Today is Peyton Manning's birthday for all y'all who didn't realize. March the 24th. Shout out to Peyton. It's his birthday today. Had to give him a little shout out before Eric got to his spiel. But without further ado, we'll keep it going. We remember that Super Bowl dub. All right, Eric, keep on going, man. Let's go. I'm the stadium. Let's get it.
Hey, that's something we got over the tight. That's something we got over everybody in the AFC South. Am I right?
Yeah.
The future of the Indianapolis Colts. It's looking up. It's looking up, right? Or is it? Vibes are doing better in Colts Nation than it was in free agency era. Chris Ballard has done a complete 180 on free agent philosophy and has spent a little bit of cash this offseason. Every NFL team, I will say, has a range of outcomes for how the season can go. Like for someone like the Chiefs, it's like, Super Bowl or bust. Someone like, the Tennessee Titans, they're always busting. So
they got more AFC championships but AFC South.
How many Super Bowls they got?
Nah, you're right.
As we look towards the future of this team with Anthony Richardson, we want to discuss what is the realistic best case scenario for this team in 2025, but also checking on the other end of the spectrum. What is the realistic worst case scenario for this team in 2025? Jamal, where would you like to begin?
That's tough, man. Let's be positive. Let's talk about best case scenario. But before we do, y'all know the drill. Hit that like, subscribe button, drop a comment below. Let us know how you feel about what we're about to talk about. What do you think is the best case scenario for the Colts? What do you think is the worst case scenario for the Colts? Maybe you think that it'll be a little harder for them to be successful. Maybe you think it'll be a little bit easier for them. Let's talk about it for a few minutes.
But you know what is successful, Jamal?
What's that?
And a little word from our sponsor, Try the World. Hey, send your taste buds on an adventure around the world with unique snacks from different countries delivered monthly. Get 20% off today with code JOY20. If you're on YouTube, click the link in the description below or in the pinned comment. If you're on another podcasting platform, just find the link in the episode description. That's a food vacation around the world, ladies and gentlemen, from Japan all the way to Italy and many other countries. Try the world. Go ahead. Give it a try. It's little snack boxes delivered to you. All right, Jamal, where are we starting? Best, worst? I mean, what?
Let's
the good, the bad, the ugly.
Good. Let's start this off on a positive note.
What can you say is the best case scenario for the Colts? I'm interested to see what you believe realistically.
Realistically, I mean, the best case. I don't know. This is tough. I think the best case scenario for me is the Colts have a 10-win season and hopefully a 10+ win season and a AFC South divisional championship. I really think that's the best case scenario. I'm not going to sit here and lie to anybody and say this team is about to go to the Super Bowl because we all know that's not the truth. But I think that there's a lot of shakeup in Jacksonville right now. Of course, there's a lot of shakeup in Tennessee. That's year over year.
Duval.
And then of course, Houston's paying their players. They're doing some trades and stuff, but they're paying their players. So
they gave away like half their offensive line. So
they did.
Tunsil's out of town.
Yeah.
Jaguars. I guess vibes are. I don't even know what their vibes are.
I don't know.
Or the Texans. Titans are probably feeling a little bit good because they have the first overall pick. But
yeah. I got to think that's how how they're all talking about us too. They're like, I don't know what the vibe is for the Colts right now. I don't know what it is. So I think the feeling's probably pretty mutual around the board.
My camera's about to go out. So I would have to agree with you, Jamal. Like realistically, the best case scenario for this team, it's honestly a trip to the playoffs. And like you said, AFC South title, love that. I feel like this team is due for one. As with every other AFC South team that's taken the division in the last 10 years and counting, like it's just like the Colts have to do that. I feel like to regain some sense of just, I don't know, just this team needs something. So like, I can't sit here and say the Jaguars, Titans, and Texans all have an AFC South title in the last decade, and we don't. So that's how I really feel. And I think for this to actually happen, Anthony Richardson has to take that year 3 leap and ascend to more than a competent starter in this league. It's a QB driven league, and you either have it or you don't. I would say right now the Indianapolis Colts don't have one, plain and simple. And I think we got the camera back working because, we got to have the camera back.
Gots to.
But Jamal, this may be the last year for Richardson to show the naysayers, like, there's a reason he got taken at the 4th overall pick. He's going to have a healthy offseason, presumably. And he's been conducting some great offseason programs already. We've already talked about it, where he's working with Chris Hex, biomechanics expert. He's also training with Josh Allen. He's doing everything he needs to be doing. And, if Richardson can sharpen his accuracy, decision-making, and he stays healthy throughout the 2025 season, I think there's a good shot the Indianapolis Colts can be very competitive under third-year head coach Shane Steichen. It just feels like, I don't ever just discount a rookie. If they had a bad rookie year, they're a rookie. I feel like you need at least 3 years to show the league what you're made of. And we're in the third year for a lot of key players. Chris Ballard has addressed the defense by adding Lou Anarumo as a defensive coordinator. He's adding significant talent like Charvarius Ward and Cam Bynum. This is all before the NFL draft, so where more needs can be filled. And I think people kind of forgot, and I know we had a very shaky season last year, but the Colts did go 8-9 despite all that kind of culminated and happened with shaky QB play, defense that got crushed entirely in some games like the New York Giants or just in crucial moments of the game. I just think that hump over mediocre is staring them right in the face, and if they can get over that, like you said, they're a double-digit win team. And to me, double-digit wins in the AFC South, you're probably looking at an AFC South title because we're not one of the greatest divisions in the league. And then I looked at a stat. I was like, okay, how close really, were we last year? And every divisional win or loss last season was decided by 8 points or less. But check this out, Jamal, with 5 of 6 of them being decided by 3 points or less. 3 points or less in 5 out of 6 divisional games. So, I think this team is closer than everyone thinks. Best case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with the hard numbers right there. Like you said, I mean, 3 points is 3 points. You call it what you want,
or less,
or less. Yeah, I think the biggest question that begs to that, this is more on the negative side of it, but like, had that 3 points flip flopped, what do you still think you'd have wanted to see this team in the playoffs? I don't quite think so, but that's not here yet. We're gonna talk about that in a few minutes.
You take one off the Texans, and what happens? I mean, I think they had 10 wins. We finished 8-9. I mean, if we win the tiebreaker, we're in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I'm saying, would you want to see this team that we saw this past year in the playoffs? I don't know. I think that's the one thing that a lot of people kind of got hung up on last year was the playoffs. And I'm kind of glad you mentioned all that because, the Colts, obviously we know Colts haven't won an AFC South title since 2014. Since then, only had out of the past 10 years, only had an above 500 record 4 times. So every year it's been kind of shallow. And of course, we already know the 1-2 playoff record since 2015. So that hump, unfortunately, has been a lot longer than a hump. That hump is a hill. It's a mountain. It's whatever you want to call it because we have not reached the pinnacle of that thing yet. We're still on the incline of it. And I don't know, what's gonna take. Like you mentioned, there are a lot of great things that already happened this year or this off season. Richardson seems to be taking those strides into where he needs to be. Ballard seems to be taking those strides to where he needs to be. And I think it'll definitely be interesting to see how the off season, or excuse me, the draft will play out for us. So there are a lot of pieces to the puzzle that kind of go in, and I think there are a lot of these pieces going to help each other out a lot more than what a lot of people think. We're talking about some defensive studs who are going to be coming in for us, plus a new defensive coordinator is going to be coming in for us, plus a quarterback who's hopefully doing what he's supposed to be doing. These things are all going to mesh well together to hopefully create that 10-win season. Now, on the flip side of that, you have to ask yourself, I mean, at this point, if the Colts manage to get a 10-win season, or excuse me, if they get a sub 10-win season and we still don't get the AFC South, but we see some progression, do we say that this is a bust for us? Do we say that, at this point, Ballard should keep his job or shouldn't keep his job, or Richardson should, be looked to be mincemeat now at this point? Because I just want you to know this, Eric. I know we're not the only podcast. There have been other podcasts out here, but I look back, just at some YouTube stuff just to see year over year for the last 4 to 5 years. Every single year is a make or break year for the Colts. Every single year is a make or break. How many make or breaks can you be? How many can you have? We haven't been podding for 5 years. I know that. We've been podding for
Have
2.
we said that every year that it's make or break?
We have said that. Other podcasts have said that. Other articles. Every year is a make or break year.
I don't remember
Which
that.
is wild. Which is wild to me. But
You
you know,
crazy.
it's the truth. That's where the hard evidence is. You guys can search your YouTube.
I said make or break it for Anthony Richardson last season. There's no way I said that.
I feel pretty confident. Well, no. Maybe not at the beginning of the season. Maybe not at the beginning of the season, but towards the middle of the season. I guess I should say the make or break portion for me, not so much Richardson, but for the team as a whole. For the team as a whole. So let me rephrase that. The team as a whole has been a quote make or break year for 5 years. But yes, I do think that Richardson does have a lot under his belt. He has to maintain this year because while I do think that the Colts can't afford for him to have a bad year because they have no capital on him if he has a bad year. So they're hoping he gets better because you're going to stick with him for that 4th year. I mean, at that point, if after this year he has a bad year, what are you going to get from him? A 5th round, a 4th round, 5th round? I don't know what teams are going to be willing to give up for that, for a quarterback who's done 3 years of not doing his job, quote, properly. So I don't know. At that point, Colts may be with their back against the wall saying, hey, listen, we got to thug it out for one more year under this contract and just do what we got to do. But I hope we're not looking. I hope we're not staring that gun down the barrel at the end of the season.
Yo, if he doesn't have a good 3rd year, he's cooked. Like
he's cooked. But the Colts will be cooked too because they can't get anything for him.
And that's when let's jump into that worst case scenario. Realistic worst case scenario, Jamal. Last place in the AFC South. Anthony Richardson repeats his 2024 performance and solidifies himself as the most inaccurate quarterback of the modern era and gets benched for Daniel Jones, who also doesn't do anything spectacular. But this will cement Richardson as a backup for the rest of his career, likely. And Jim Irsay cleans house by firing Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen. Veterans are let go, move on, which starts the full reset of this organization, which we will be looking to draft the next best QB prospect in the 2026 NFL draft. That's how it will line up if we have a very subpar year. To be honest, that's not how I want to see the 2025 season play out. But I think there's a real possibility that this team could still linger in that mediocre, below average zone. Jamal just talked about it. Apparently people have been saying make or break every year. Well, this year, I will actually say it. It's literally make or break for a lot of guys on this team. And, I just think mediocrity could live in us because the injuries, the coaching could be bad QB play, bad defense, etc. Anarumo runs a complex defense and, he has a lot of his secondary things like that. But I think it may take a while for this team to get adjusted to that. Chris Ballard could go crazy in the draft and take a position that's not highly needed or in the 1st round or trade the 1st round pick for 4 4th round picks. You never know what can happen. Anthony Richardson could suck. Shane Steichen could suck. There's a myriad of things that could happen that could derail this team from that best case scenario. And we say worse than best because we don't want the average case scenario. One of these has to hit or we have I just think a lot of things could happen that could shatter the hopes of a great season.
Yeah, I literally couldn't put that any better myself. And in my humble opinion, I think the only way Ballard loses his job is when the sun sets in the west and rises in the east. Or excuse me, when the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Excuse me. Flip-flop that. I don't think Ballard's going to be going anywhere. I just truly don't. I think if the Colts manage to put up a 10-win season or win the division, presumably that should happen.
He'll be here. Yeah,
he'll be here. Even if we get a shitty wild card win, I think that Ballard keeps his job. He'll sign a brand new contract and he'll be here for the long haul. It's going to take a whole lot, and I mean a whole lot. I mean, this thing is going to have to crumble and collapse into a sub 500 year, another ugly performance on the offensive side of the ball and defense side of the ball for Ballard to be gone. So while I think that he has done the right thing by making some of these moves he has, I don't think his job's quite in jeopardy yet. I don't think his job actually could ever be in jeopardy, if I'm being completely honest with you, because there's no point of saying yet anymore. The yet has long gone.
If we go 5-12, he's not out of here.
I don't think his job's
got to be because he selected Anthony Richardson. Richardson obviously fails in this worst case scenario. That means Richardson and anybody connected with him, which is probably going to be Sykin too, should probably be gone because this
I agree.
experiment didn't work. It's time to reset, bring in the new. We need a fresh look at someone who can work from the top down and get this organization where it needs to be, and that's in a full rebuild. Chris Ballard has had his 10-year tenure. If it doesn't work out, if we don't reach our peak, then it's time to go. And y'all got to get him out of here collectively.
I fully agree with that. Listen, and in a perfect world, I think that would happen, but I'm just hard pressed to see it happen just because I know the way this organization works. I've watched the way it worked for the past X amount of years, and I know the way Jim Irsay doesn't look with a realistic eye. He doesn't care about being successful. Again, he cares about mediocrity. And even with the 5-win season, guess what? That means we get a pretty decent draft pick, and why not give Ballard another chance to try again
Another
with
chance.
a decent draft pick? I don't see him going. I just don't see him going.
He's tried multiple times.
Agreed.
Carson Wentz. I mean, he's tried with multiple quarterbacks.
Yep.
It's just not working. It's time to move on.
Agreed.
In that scenario, not right now.
Time to move on, even if it's a 9-win season, 10-win season. I think it's still time to move on from him. Well, that's just my humble opinion.
If we win the AFC South, it's hard to see a scenario where Jim Irsay says bye-bye.
Oh, I know. Listen, Jim Irsay is not the most competent owner in the league.
Home playoff game, bam.
Listen, and that's
Chris Ballard will be champion.
That's the problem right there, man. People with this small mindset of just they get excited over one home playoff game. Who the fuck cares about that?
Home playoff win?
It's a great time. Yes, and I'll be the first person to have my card in the system already to get my tickets. But it doesn't matter because that one year of that success, is not going to be the determining factor for the future to come. I mean, because why? If I'm Ballard, let me ask you this: if I'm Ballard and I do this one-time thing of jumping the gun, of doing something out of my normal style, paying a little bit of money, drafting a little differently one time, why should he do it again? Why should he do it again? If he does it 1 year and it works for him, he's going to go back to his old ways. He's not going to change his whole philosophy over 1 year because he's just recushioned his seat again. So now he has zero reason to feel the pressure again.
It's all speculation, but we're not about to get you started with Chris Ballard, man.
No, I hope that this year is the first part of this conversation we had, though, where everybody excels, no matter what the outcome is. Again, I don't care if they fire the whole staff at the end of it. I just want to see the team be successful for one time, and I'm not talking about 8-9 wins successful. I want to see 11-12 wins, which I know is very hard in the NFL. I am not sitting here saying that's not hard to do in the league because I clearly know Washington's, like you said, there are a lot of teams out there, Chiefs who are like Super Bowl or bust, Eagles are like AFC or NFC Championship or bust, things like that. But the Colts should not be riding the tail of just saying that, hey, listen, we got to have a AFC South or bust in the worst division in the league. Like you got to want more than that. But I just don't know. I don't know how we get to that point yet with what we have around us.
I think the first step would be an AFC South title. I think that would instill that. I like having a winning culture. We've seen what the Las Vegas Raiders have done. They've kind of done a complete 180 on their organization because 3 months ago that thing was in full tank mode. You couldn't tell me 3 other players besides Brock Bowers that were talented on that team. Now they brought in Pete Carroll. Tom Brady's a part of that organization. They signed Geno Smith. Like there's hope, and Pete Carroll, he's a winning coach. Like he's gonna bring that organization back potentially. So this Colts franchise needs to be back, and we need think about how happy we were when we saw Andrew Luck play. Think about how happy we were when Peyton Manning was out there, when we were winning Super Bowls, when we were contending every year. Like I want to be that Colts fan.
I agree. And I think the biggest thing, and just to talk about real quick with the Raiders thing you're talking about is they flipped house. That's what they did. They signed a new GM. They signed a new head coach. They did it. They brought some little bit of minor ownership in there with Tom Brady in there. They actually made moves on the front, at the back of the house portion to then now bring into the locker room. So I think that's where it's going to have to work for the Colts.
And we were all on the fire Chris Ballard train.
But y'all all got off.
No, we didn't get off. Jamerse got off.
Jamerse was never on. He was never on it.
All right, so he never got on. He never signed off on it. We're stuck with him. So we might as well try to rally behind him and say he's done some pretty good moves so far in the offseason that we're content about. And hopefully this will lead to the success of this organization. I mean, yes, I think they should have fired Ballard, but now they didn't. Jim Irsay said, "Nah, we Gucci." Yeah. So we got to suck it up and hope for best case scenario here.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping for best case scenario. Listen, I'm just telling you. I'm just saying that at the end of the season, I didn't think he was going to be gone at the end of the season.
Which home playoff game.
Again, I'll be the first person to have my card in the system. Like I'm not concerned about that. I'll be sitting in my seat, but neither here nor there. This, like you said, this isn't a Ballard episode. This is about what the Colts are going to do to finally, since 2014, get a divisional title underneath their belt, and then see what the future holds for us. So let's see what's going on, man. We got a couple weeks to the draft, and then we get rock and rolling from there. Let's get ready for this summer, because summer's where it's going to get exciting for the team.
Draft season. Y'all know we got some mock drafts coming.
Eric want to drop 10 more mock drafts for y'all, so don't worry. Don't worry. They'll be here.
I got some more mock drafts coming for y'all. Y'all know it. If we go to a full rebuild next season, woo.
Yeah, then I'll drop 80. I'll drop a mock draft 4 times a day if you want to.
You know, we getting deep into those QB prospects. Boy, that's going to be fun. That's all I got, Jamal.
That's it for me.
That's going to be it for us, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Colts Cast. We are live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts, and we'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content. Later.
Y'all take it easy.